Hello. Welcome to Olivia's Money Show. I'm Nana. Olivia, unfortunately, I'm sad to say she's a little bit under the weather. I don't know what happened. One moment she was tap dancing, and then the weather came over, and there she is. She's been under it, but I don't want you to worry. She's all tucked in. I made her a lot of matzo ball soup. Oh, pardon me. I had a little bit of the belch. Hold on. So I'm Nana. I tucked her in with a little bedtime story. You know, Olivia was so sweet. She didn't even complain that she was going to bed before the sun was down. And I wanted to share with you, I'm not going to read you the whole book, but I wanted to just give a review of this series of books that she has. I just love them, all right? So it's this book called The Kids Book About Money. That's probably backwards for you. So maybe I won't show all the pages. It's written by a man, Adam Stromwasser. He's a cool dude. I'm so cool. I said dude. He's a financial coach, but he lives in Brooklyn. Oh, that's where I'm from. Hi, Adam. I don't know if that's how the internets work, but it's this wonderful series of books they have. It's called A Kid's Book About, and they have one about, obviously this one's about money. They have one about body image, mindfulness. They have one about the Tulsa Massacre. They have it about feminism, adventure in general, cancer. So it's just so, oh, excuse me. Sorry, my little puppy. All right, you just spat it. All right, ow. Oh, yeah, I'm so well pickled. Look at these. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wiped off some of my wisdom, I see, when I had a little sneeze. But, oh, look at how good that one is. Yes. I must be very wise. All right. So I just want to tell you a little bit about this book because, Olivia didn't learn everything she knows about money from me. I'm sorry to say. I had a ball and I dropped it some of the time because it's very current, Oh, I see we're having a little bit of connection problem. It's like 85 degrees up here in the Berkshires. I wonder if maybe like the wires are melting or something like that. I'm not quite sure how the interwebs are doing it. But for anyone who's just joining now, I'm Nana. Olivia is under some weather. She had a lot of garlic. Oh, so much garlic. Her burps smell terrible. And so we're looking at this book. It's from the series, A Kid's Book About, and this one's about money. And it's talking about teaching children about money because often otherwise then they're getting unspoken messages from you. They can tell if you go to the store and you're feeling a little tense or tight. If you explain to them, I want to spend $150 at the store, and then afterwards you go over the receipt with them, you say, look, we ended up paying $163. Now let's talk. Oh, I'm melting a little bit. No, then you can talk to your kids about why you chose to go over 150 a little bit. If you bring them in, then they get to really have some real life experience. It's something to work off of instead of living in this sort of vague land. You know what? I don't know if you know what I mean, but I hope I'm being a little clear about that. And, oh, yeah, this book, it talks about how we carry money, it's 2022, on a phone or on our watch. I don't have one of those fancy watches, the brilliant watches. I don't have one of those, but you can check. I don't know if it's on the talk tick or the maybe the Instagram. You can look in the card catalog, look for tap to pay. It's a tap dancing thing. And it's, it's a play on words sort of because he's doing the tap dancing to process the payment, but you have to look it up in order to see if if it's an effective form of payment. It's so good. Look that. I love to support artists, you know, and so you can look them up. Give them a thumbs up on the like button. All right. So this is so much. I love this because it's showing how my granddaughter, Olivia, how she's such a smarty pants. Because she said this last week. She said money is a tool. And she was talking about, you know, kids absorb feelings like, oh, too much money makes too many problems. They could absorb that from society. They could absorb that from listening to a talk you're having with your own grandmother on the phone or something like that. And it's important for kids to understand that it's actually neutral. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you have your different money pieces, and you get to make a choice about where they're going. I want children to feel that kind of empowerment right off the bat of that they are making a choice. We'll go into that a little bit more. I don't know if you've heard of the envelope system, but we're going to go into that a little more. This Adam, he's got a great idea, a better alternative to that. And so it talks about money being a tool for things we need or we want. Now, this is so super important to you know, have children participate in things that they need so that they start to develop a sense of what is a need and what is a want. It's so hard, right? For a lot of grown-ups too, even. It's so hard to always know what the difference is. And Karen McCall, oh, she's such a young little whippersnapper. Oh, she's the one who trained my granddaughter Olivia as a money coach. She would always say, you can never get enough of something you don't need. Right? Because when we're confused between our needs and wants, we want more ice cream, but that's not going to nourish us. I mean, if you're sick in bed, Olivia, sure, a little bit of ice cream. I mean, she ate enough garlic, but I digress. So the thing about needs and wants is it can be hard for anyone to tell the difference. And when you only give kids money for their wants, then it starts to skew their vision, you know. If you give them $10 and you say, let's go to the candy store, the toy store, and they don't participate in what some of their needs are, then they're not really getting the full picture of money, are they? So that's why including them in conversations about grocery shopping and saying school supplies, for example, back to school, going together and being excited, saying we're going to get these supplies because these are things that are going to nourish you. These are things that are going to contribute to your fulfillment and education. And so, let's see, it goes on. Oh, it's got this great part. You got to get this book about bananas. And it's funny, the receipt says at the farmer's market. And at first I was thinking, wait a second, at the farmer's market here in Massachusetts, we don't have bananas. That's not local, right? But I realized that the writer is from Venezuela. And so I bet, you know, that makes sense. You got local bananas. So I like that. It's the culturally appropriate to the author. I love that. And I think also they had to choose bananas because then they got to say the phrase, that's a lot of bananas. Oh, it's like the Groucho Marx's. It's like, do you remember that one? It's, you got a one a banana, you got a two a banana. That's a three a bananas. He's a funny guy. All right. So then it talks about how do we get money from working. I love these examples. It says work. I always taught Olivia that the definition of work is love made visible. Okay? I think that maybe came from Rumi. And I love this explanation. Work is when someone spends their time making, doing, selling, teaching, performing, fixing, helping someone else, and then they get money for it, right? And so you may have had this feeling sometimes when you have done some of those things. You've helped someone, or you've fixed something for someone, and you don't charge enough. Then it doesn't feel good to you. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience where you charge too much, and then maybe you feel a little bad afterwards, and you're like, well, let me also, bake you a pie or something. I don't know what your compensation particularly for you individually would be, but as an example, a little rugula here, a little babka there. But my point is that when we're doing that exchange, it's really hard for people sometimes to come up with the amount that's going to be appropriate to charge. And I just really want to encourage people to experiment with that. What Gwyneth Paltrow would charge for a jade egg is not necessarily, actually, I can tell you for real, it's not what they charge for a jade egg over in Chatham. Check her out. But if it feels good to the person naming the price, then it's the right price. And so it sometimes takes time to find the right price. And I want so many people to be making money, right? Because then they can expand as themselves more. And then work that gives examples on what jobs you could have. I can read it backwards. Let's see. A babysitter, a photographer, an Uber driver, a doctor. I'm going contrary to every other Jewish grandmother in the world. I'm going to tell you, don't marry a doctor unless you want to spend a lot of time with him. Because yeah, he might be at work a lot, but it's a lot of time, even when it's just in the morning and the night and the weekends and the in-betweens. Oh, and then the vacations, that's a lot of time. If you don't want to spend time with someone, maybe an Uber driver. Yeah, that's a good person to marry. That's just my little relationship advice. I've heard a lot of Olivia's clients say, I didn't know when I hired a money coach, I was getting a relationship coach too, right? And she gets that from me because I always share these little tidbits with her. Excuse me. I'm fine. Sucking down the garlic. All right. I did squirrel away some matzo balls for myself as a little treaty poo after this, right? Okay. So, a couple more items here that this great Adam Stromwasser that he includes here. Oh, I like he lists that there are a lot of things that don't cost any money at all. And this goes back to that wants and needs thing. If going out to eat is breaking the bank for you right now and you're setting yourself up to have a better financial situation, how do you get that need met in a less expensive or zero expensive way? All right, and so he gives some great examples. I'm just going to riff here of things that are free, like birds chirping outside, and thunderstorms are free, and kisses are free, right? They better be. All right, and so it says we can't buy everything. It's just a truth, right? And that's something to, oh, hello, yes, I'm her Bobby. Hello, Deb. Hi. All right, so we can't buy everything, right? That's a fact, and sometimes that's hard for kids to understand, and one way that helps them think about that is kind of like you might have seen the envelope system, how you spend a little. These are my granddaughters, and you, whoa, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped a quarter. You save a little, and you give some away, all right? But there's a great idea here in this book about spending, saving, and giving. This is not in this book. I'm backing up just a little bit. Olivia turned me on to this book, and it's in the link here, of George Classen's The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, Olivia, I'm sorry I dropped the ball. She did not learn as a child about this giving. This was never a concept introduced to her about money. Now I see when I go to the YMCA, they have those Hanukkah menorahs, and it says you can take someone from a family in need, and you can choose the gifts for them. But I don't remember things like that happening when she was a little kid. It didn't even come up. But giving is a really important part of money that children really hook into. So I really encourage that kind of donation and talk about how we're helping people. And the rule in George Classen's book is anytime you are feeling tight with money, this is for those of you who want to feel like grown-ups too, even despite if you have such good wrinkles like I do, that when you're tight with money, the first thing to do is to donate, is to give some, and to pay that forward, right? And so she had never learned that before. She turned me on to that, and I really appreciate Olivia for that. And so he talks about, yes, he talks about the envelopes, and he's got a great new twist. I mean, it's not so modern, but he said put it in jars, right? Because which is more fun? This little thing, this flat you can't see, you're not really sure what's there. It's not very juicy. It's not very, how do you say, like, enlivening. So this, just take a little look, breathe this in. Oh, actually. Then you can smell the money. It's getting energy all in there. And I find the envelopes are sort of like an antiquated idea of we have to keep it under lock and key, right? We got to keep it in the envelope, and we only take out the envelope when rent is due. But I really encourage parents and grandparents to have it be visible, because what are we teaching them with these closed envelopes? That they can't trust themselves about money? We want to instill a concept of trust, and this is what Olivia does with her clients all the time. I don't know if any of you can relate to having a little money stashed here and a little money stashed there and all these different accounts, and then you're never really sure how much you have, but you like it because you're like, oh, I'm sure there's more than I think there is. And if the situation feels bad, then it's not as bad as I think it is. If you can relate to, money stashed all around the house, different cabinets, mattress, oldie but a goodie, then this is kind of that same concept revealed and exposed, which is, hello, children, money is a tool that we can talk about, that we are transparent about, and that we can trust ourselves to make important choices with, and to make decisions that feed us, and that we also balance our needs and our wants with our jaws and our transparency. So please let me know if this has brought up any questions or reminders of your money messages growing up. Were you given a little candy money to go when you bought your parents cigarettes down the road? Or was that just my brother? I don't know. Anything that's coming up for you, please bring it to the conversation. The more transparent we each can choose to be, the more we're helping financial transparency throughout the world. So I will give Olivia an extra kiss for you if you're concerned about her health. I'm sure she's sleeping well. She's getting better. And she will see you next week. All right. Have a happy live Facebook.